Hello, Middle Three. Today we will explain Lesson 1 in Unit 1, Chemical Reactions. Chemical reactions play an important role in our daily life as in the following examples, like burning of a car fuel, plants make their own food through photosynthesis process, medicines, fertilizers, and artificial fibers. What's the meaning of chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is breaking up of bonds in some molecules of the reactants and formation of new bonds in the molecules of the new resultants or products from the reaction. Chemical reactions are classified according to the process they include into many types. Number 1, thermal decomposition. Number 2, substitution reaction, like simple substitution reaction and double substitution reaction. Number 3, oxidation and reduction reactions. Number 1, thermal decomposition reaction. They are reactions which involve breaking up of molecules of compounds by heat into elements or simple compounds than the original one. For example, thermal decomposition reaction of oxides. Some metal oxides decompose by heat into metal and oxygen gas. Like red mercury oxide decomposes by heat into mercury silvery precipitate at the bottom of the tube, and the oxygen gas evolves, which increases the glow of a burning match. Number 2, thermal decomposition of some metal hydroxides. Some metal hydroxides decompose by heat into metal oxide and water vapor evolves. For example, blue copper hydroxide decomposes by heat into copper oxide, black color, and water vapor evolves. Number 3, thermal decomposition of most metal carbonates. Most metal carbonates decompose by heat into metal oxide and the carbon dioxide gas evolves. Green copper carbonate decomposes by heat into copper oxide, a black color, and the carbon dioxide gas evolves, which turns clear lime water into milky. Number 4, thermal decomposition of most metal sulfates. Most metal sulfates decompose by heat into metal oxide and sulfur trioxide gas evolves. For example, blue copper sulfate decomposes by heat into copper oxide, a black color, and sulfur trioxide gas evolves. Number 5, thermal decomposition of some metal nitrates. Some metal nitrates decompose by heat into metal nitrite and oxygen gas. For example, white sodium nitrate decomposes by heat into sodium nitrite, yellowish-white color, and oxygen gas evolves, which increases the glow of the burning match. Question: how can you differentiate between copper sulfate and the copper hydroxide? Science technology airbags. Airbag, it is an inflatable bag folded inside the steering wheel in modern cars. They are very important in cars as a safety mean in emergency. Rapid decomposition occurs in crashes to sodium azide, forming nitrogen gas evolves. Number 2, substitution reactions. It is a reaction occurs when there is an active metal more active that replaces another less active metal in its compound. The activity of elements is determined using the chemical activity series. It is the arrangement of metallic elements descending or according to their chemical activity. All metals above hydrogen in the series replace hydrogen in acid solution. Elements that follow hydrogen don't replace it in acids except under certain conditions. Types of substitution reactions. Number 1, simple substitution reactions. Number 2, double substitution reactions. Number 1, simple substitution reaction. It is a reaction in which one of the elements substitutes or replaces another one in case that substituted element is more active than the substituted one. For example, A element plus BC compound. A more active than B, so the products will be AC compound plus B element. Types of simple substitution reaction. Metal substitutes the hydrogen of water and acid. Metal substitutes another metal in its salt solution. Metal substitutes the hydrogen of water and acids. Metals which precede hydrogen in chemical activity series substitute hydrogen of water, forming metal oxide, metal hydroxide, and the hydrogen gas. For example, sodium substitutes the hydrogen of water, giving sodium hydroxide, and the hydrogen gas evolves, which burns with a pop sound, and the reaction is combined by releasing of heat. 2Na sodium plus 2H2O water give us 2NaOH sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas H2 evolves. Metal substitutes the hydrogen of dilute acids. Metals which precede the hydrogen in chemical activity series substitute hydrogen of diluted acid, forming salts of an acid, and hydrogen gas evolves. For example, zinc and aluminium replace the hydrogen of dilute acid, forming salt of an acid, and the hydrogen gas evolves because zinc and aluminium precede hydrogen in chemical activity series. So Zn plus 2HCl dilute give us ZnCl2 plus H2 evolves. 2Al aluminium plus 6HCl diluted give us 2AlCl3 plus 3H2 evolves. But copper doesn't replace hydrogen of dilute acid because copper comes after hydrogen in chemical activity series. So Cu plus HCl, no reaction happens. Metal substitutes another in its salt solution. Some metals replace another metals in their salt solution that follow them in the chemical activity series. For example, magnesium is more active than copper, as it comes before copper in chemical activity series, so it substitutes copper in copper sulfate solution, forming magnesium sulfate, colorless, and copper precipitate with red precipitate. So Mg, magnesium, plus CuSO4, copper, sulfate blue, give us MgSO4 magnesium sulfate with colorless, plus Cu reddish brown precipitate. So give reason, magnesium substitutes copper in copper sulfate solution, while the opposite can't happen, because magnesium is more active than copper as it comes before copper in the chemical activity series. Number 2, the blue color of copper sulfate disappears on putting a piece of zinc, because zinc substitutes copper in salt solution to form zinc sulfate. CuSO4 plus Zn give us ZnSO4 plus copper precipitate. Number 2, double substitution reaction. It is a reaction in which involves substitution between the ions of two compounds to give other two new compounds. AB plus CD give us AD plus CB. Types of double substitution reaction. Reaction between acid and alkali, neutralization reaction. Number 2, reaction between acid and salt. Number 3, reaction between two salt solutions. Number 1, reaction of acid and alkali, neutralization reaction. Neutralization reaction, it is a reaction between acid and alkali to form salt and water. For example, reaction between hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide to form sodium chloride, salt and water. HCl plus NaOH give us NaCl plus H2O. Number 2, reaction between acid and salt. Acids react with salts and results depend on the type of both the acid and salt. For example, dilute hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium carbonate salt forming sodium chloride, water and carbon dioxide gas evolves, which turns the clear lime water into milky. Na2CO3 plus 2HCl diluted produce 2NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. So, when add dilute HCl and some sodium carbonate in a bottle, observation, effervescence happens and the balloon is blown. Pass the gas formed in the balloon into clear lime water. Lime water becomes turbid. Reaction between two salt solutions. Add some silver nitrate to some sodium chloride solution. Observation, white precipitate of silver chloride forms. NaCl plus AgNO3 produce NaNO3 plus AgCl with white precipitate. Number 4, oxidation and reduction reactions. Oxidation and reduction reaction takes place by two ways. Number 1, losing or gaining oxygen or hydrogen. Number 2, losing or gaining electrons. Oxidation and reduction with traditional concept. It is a reaction by losing or gaining oxygen or hydrogen. Number 1, oxidation is a process in which oxygen is increased or hydrogen is decreased in the substance. Number 2, reduction. It is a process in which the oxygen is decreased or hydrogen increased in the substance. Oxidizing agent is a substance that gives the oxygen or removes the hydrogen. Reducing agent, the substance that gives the hydrogen or removes the oxygen. So, give reason. Red substance precipitates when dry hydrogen gas is passed over hot black copper oxide. Due to the formation of red copper when hydrogen is oxidized into water and copper oxide is reduced into red copper. CuO is oxidizing agent and H2 is reducing agent. Produce copper and water. Oxidation and reduction with electronic concept. Oxidation is a process in which the atom of element loses electron or more. And reduction is a process in which the atom of element gains electron or more. Oxidizing agent is a substance that gains electron or more during the reaction, for example, non-metal. And reducing agent, substance that loses electron or more during chemical reaction, for example, metal. For example, reaction of sodium ion with chlorine ion produce sodium chloride. An oxidation process occurs to sodium because it loses an electron and it changes into a positive sodium ion. So, sodium is considered as a reducing agent because it loses an electron during the chemical reaction and it changes into positive sodium ion. A reduction process occurs to chlorine because it gains an electron which is lost by sodium and changes into negative chloride ion. Chlorine is considered as an oxidizing agent because it gains an electron during the chemical reaction and changes into a negative chloride ion. Give reason, oxidation and reduction are concurrent processes because they occur at the same time.